Welcome to Beamovation. My name is Noluthando Chabalala, also known as the Advocate of Self-Love. This is the platform, the channel, the podcast where beauty meets motivation. And as always, I'm confident you will be inspired after this episode because I am chatting to a gentleman. Yes, we hardly have gentlemen on the podcast. So this is, I think, our second gentleman who has been on the podcast this season. His name is Ndivhuwo Vhuatsha. He is a young tech entrepreneur who is also an accountant. He is very passionate about innovation because through his company, which he will introduce to us and, give us more details, he works with a lot of companies, assisting them with tax as well as compliance. Ndivhuwo, welcome to Beamovation.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's actually midday now.
Yeah, it's always nice to be here. For me,
it
still feels like a morning.
Thank you so much for making the time. I know that you're busy. You are an entrepreneur in the tech space, and in line with our topic this season, which is channeling the fire within to pursue your success. I know that you are doing exactly that. You are channeling the fire that you have to pursue your success. But can you give us a bit of background? Who is Ndivhuwo? Where does it come from? How come he is able to do so many things?
Yeah, I think it's very important to always go back years back. Ndivhuwo was born in a village called Makita village. It's in Limpopo. That's where I was raised. Actually, school was 500 meters away. I used to walk to school. So I finished my high school there, and I went to University of Venda for tertiary.
Yes.
Where I did my accounting science. I've always wanted to be, within the business and the money part of it, which is the chartered accountancy route.
Yes.
That's where I started discovering myself. I think the Ndivhuwo you're seeing right now started literally at the varsity level, because that's when I had to be on my own, and that's when I had to find ways to survive on my own without bothering anyone. Because at that point of time, I wouldn't say I came from a very disadvantaged family.
Yes.
But by that time, none of my parents were employed. So we were actually relying on social grant. And by that time I was 18 when I passed grade 12.
Yes.
That means at that point I'm no longer covered. At that point I can't call back and say, Mom, Dad, this is what's happening on campus. Can you give me this much? So my spirit of entrepreneurship started there. That's when I started my first company.
I love that. My spirit of entrepreneurship started with the discomfort because, the topic itself, channeling the fire within. Some people say, I don't know what that fire is. Where do I get it from? But yours was really channeled or sparked by the situation at home.
True.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you realize that, okay, you know what? I want to see the world. Like I'm trying to imagine what was happening in your mind for you to make the decision that you're going to go after your dreams. You're going to go into the field of, accounting, and you're going to do your thing. What was your thinking? What was pushing you?
Honestly, firstly, I was the second person in my family to actually go to university.
Yes.
Of course, I was not pleased with the background, and I believed that if I was not born in a rich family, then a rich family should come from me. So I had very valid reasons that were pushing me so hard to. Firstly, one of it was to restore the reputation for my parents, because I could see, if you have nothing, not everyone really gives you that much of respect.
Sure.
And also to pave the way for my siblings and anyone who come after me to say it's possible. It doesn't matter where you come from. So that really sparked, I against all odds, I had to make it either way, because at the end of the day, there was no way I would be comfortable with the current situation I was in at home. And there was no way that I would, bother my parents, because I understand their hardship. I understand how hard they've worked. So I think that's one thing that really made sure that I never back down or look back, even if it was not easy.
Yes.
At that point, I didn't have mentors. As I said, I was the second person, so I didn't have any person to really relate to and ask.
Yes.
I had to just pave the way myself and, try to maneuver around, which is where I made mistakes and I learned from them. And, in most circumstances, you find yourself in mistakes and things that come that are not really good. That's where you get to realize, I'm capable of this, I'm capable of that. And as you talk about the fire, I think the fire started just immediately when I passed grade 12. I was like, I just got an opportunity to change the whole entire generation. I don't believe it was a curse, but I think I have to cut the chain at this point of time.
Yes.
And show everyone that it's possible. So that I don't have siblings or anyone telling me, my mom doesn't work, I can't do this. Oh,
Yes.
And very interesting thing is you ask yourself, in most circumstances, I always get asked in an interview this question. It's, how did you start a business when you're 18 years old, right? There's a part of creating something from nothing, right?
Yeah.
And if it's survival mode, that's the only time where you don't really have to, have something for you to do something.
Yes.
You just have to make something from whatever that you have in that.
Yes.
And trust me, if you're in survival mode, you will find it, regardless. So at that point of time, because I was a student in accounting, right? I did the first class that was business studies, right? So with business studies, I started getting interested. Oh, business that. I was like, hold on. I think a lot of people don't know what is business. I've seen my dad had a tuck shop a long time ago, but it didn't make it that long.
Yes.
But I was like, I'm interested in this field called business, and I believe a lot of people don't know what is business.
Yes.
Let me study further than my lecturer know these business studies and accounting before we finish the year. That is my first year. So I studied the whole book of business studies. I understood and I started researching outreach step business and all those things.
Yes.
And then I decided to say, you know what, I'll be a business consultant for university students. And that's the first time I made my income.
That's where it literally started.
Yes.
I love the fact that you say that if you don't come from a rich family, the rich family has to come from you. And that is a decision that you made. And I hope you caught that at home, right? Because you don't have to go out of this earth the same way that you came in. That is the beauty and the magic of life. And that is what I want you to learn from the Bumovation podcast, that it's all about changing. It's all about playing with the energy. So you are now, in a different world, different than where you come from, right? Where there's limitations, there's no resources and stuff. And then you are amongst people from different backgrounds, different places. How did you cultivate that confidence? How did you make sure that you are set, you know who you are? Because I know for a lot of, especially young people, as soon as they leave either their hometown, their village, their background, and they mix with different people that have different, practices, behaviors, habits, and hobbies, you lose yourself. How did you manage to keep yourself intact in that point in time?
Yeah, in a nutshell, I would say the reason why it's one thing that will make sure that you always stick to what you are there for. Honestly, it's very tempting. Being first time on campus, there's just a lot of temptation, a lot of things that can really make you forget why you're there. And that's the reason why a lot of people don't really get out there as soon as they thought they will. Because when you get there, there's a world of easy accessibility, there's a world of partying, there's a world of some rich kids have cars. They will tell you, let's go out, let's go wherever, different places. And if you forget where you come from, if you forget what you want and what you're there for and for how long, that's very important.
Yes.
You need to know for how long are you putting yourself in that position. And I knew I only had 3 years. And if I don't make it in 3 years, then my mission has failed, because I was not self-funded. So in a nutshell, I would say I had to firstly spiritually grow myself and understand myself, because I took a lot of time. At that point, I couldn't even have friends because I had to understand myself first before I could link out with anyone else, because I need to know who am I and what kind of people I can associate myself with, because once you know yourself, you know very well what kind of people you can get along with, what kind of things you can entertain, what kind of things you should say no to.
I love that. I love, especially coming from a male, to say that I had to understand myself. If I may ask, in you understanding yourself, what did you understand about yourself? Because a lot of people, and this is very, very valid, a lot of people write to me and say, help me understand myself, which is something I really cannot do. But are there findings or principles that you came out with in the pursuit of understanding yourself?
Yeah, okay. So I always believe...
I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but...
I've always believed that there's what we call the inner person and the person you see outside. And the inner person is the person that actually is the boss of the person you see outside. So everything you do and everything you see, it's influenced by the inner person. And the inner person is the only one that can really give you an idea of what you're capable of and who you are. So I tapped into that. I had to be isolated, and I know most of us, we are afraid of isolation, and that's where power comes from. Because
Yes.
when you're isolated, that's when you get to discover things about yourself, and sometimes you need to have the faith to put yourself out of comfort.
Yes.
That's why what I did. I know. For someone to say no to you, it's hard, and it used to pain me initially. You know,
Yes.
when someone says no, I can't do business with you. You know, and the inner person had to teach me to say any criticism that comes, I can neutralize it, I can change it to a positive fueling, so that becomes my fire to want to do
Yes.
more. You know, so in terms of a simple journey to actually discover yourself, first of all, it's spend much time with yourself. And when you're spending much time with yourself, don't protect yourself from things that you don't know if you can be able to win on or lose on. So we're always protecting ourselves because we think we are not capable. When we see fire, we just know it's how we're going to be burned.
Yes,
You know,
move away, step away. Yes.
Exactly. You don't know how far you can jump. And in most circumstances, that's what really got me. I did a lot of experiments with myself, and Lord forgive me, I've tested my faith in high level. Like, you know, even when I knew this might not work,
I might
did it.
die.
I
but
did it.
You, like, yes.
And then that's the only time I got to realize, you know what, actually I'm capable of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10,
Yes.
you know. And then I keep on discovering more over time, and it's really an exciting journey with yourself.
I have to give you a fist bump because I mean, this is really what Bemovation is about, you know, unlocking the inner person, like you said, and you said it so beautifully. You said that the inner being in you is the boss of you. And that's why you always have to cultivate a relationship with yourself and your inner, because it's the inner that truly knows where you're going. So you're now in the accounting space, right? How do we move from accounting to tech? Because that's really the big highlight for our conversation. When I saw what you're doing, I was like, okay, I hardly see a lot of individuals that are really playing in the tech space. And this is extremely important for us as South Africans, as Africans, to play in that space, because I mean, tech is definitely the future. So please take me through accounting, consulting for businesses to tech.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very funny story, but you know what, I believe every circumstance or anything that comes, it's literally just channeling you to the journey that you have to, and everything that you have had,
Yes.
or any background, be it you started being a teacher and now you end up being a scientist, and it's just every part and parcel of knowledge works together to get you to where you are.
Yes.
So for me, my background is when I finished accounting science at University of Venda. Yes, I passed, and I started facing the reality of the world.
Yes.
The reality of the world was unemployment, right? Yeah, you passed well, you've been a brilliant child, and then I was like, but I was told immediately when I finished, there's a lot of jobs and a lot of money for this, but
where is everything?
Where is it now? You
Where's
know?
the envelope?
And
Yes.
those uncles would be like, hey, my son, I'll put you in.
Yeah.
They were not there, you know, at
Yes,
that point.
of course.
So in that situation, I was starting to lose myself in that, because I felt like that I had put too much, and the results were not really showing, because I understood my sacrifices when I was on campus, because I was very focused, you know. So in that, I end up taking a job. I wouldn't say it was beneath me, but just to get my brain busy.
Yes.
So the job was to be a salesman. Salesman, I was selling selling them to create accounts. You know, we used to call ourselves Jose. Those people will be bothering you in malls. You know?
Yes.
Unfortunate. It didn't really end well. I worked at that job. It built a lot of character in me in terms of sales and business, and it made me think differently.
Yes.
But that's the only time I think I struggled the most, because what happened is I worked that job and I never got paid. And because I never got paid, I was in Pretoria. It was my first time in Gauteng. I ended up on the streets. So at that point, I became homeless for like 4 months. I felt like that was just the chapter I had to live in. I used to ask people to run, and they run. You know, everyone, you know, on the streets, no one trusts anyone.
Correct.
So yeah, I ended up accepting my situation to say, you know what, I think I have to be on the street. And I found family in the streets. You know, we used to have specific corners. We used to have schedules of what time we eat, if we get that 2 rands and so stuff. And I built family and I built character in that. But that is the only time where I found myself even harder. And then I learned that you can be a good person, but things will still happen. Doesn't mean things happen to people that are bad.
Yes.
And again, you can choose to say, I want to play it safe, and you still die in that same process.
Yeah.
So from that point, because I saw a lot of things, you know, in the streets, people become drug addicts. I used to see people being hijacked live in front of me. I used to see people being shot.
Yes.
So that really, you know, built a bit of some character in me, and I became someone who's fearless at that point. And by the time I actually survived out of the streets after the 4 months,
yes,
I was a different person, and I knew I will do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
To make it. It doesn't matter if it has to take my life, it's fine.
Yes.
You know, because even if I do nothing,
play it
will
safe.
still,
You could still
be
take
the
your
same
life.
results.
Yes.
You know, yeah, that's when. After I was homeless, I went back home. You know, I had to settle back, find myself, and I had built a lot of character. I've learned people and how people behave when you have and when you don't have.
Yeah.
You know, I had learned humans and myself better, and that's when opportunities started flooding in. You know, I got an opportunity to be an internal auditor. I worked. I couldn't even do 12 months because the spirit of entrepreneurship kept on bothering me.
Yes, it always pushes you.
You know,
yes.
and I didn't like comfort because comfort was no longer comfortable for me, you know. So anything that is like normal routine, I know I have my laptop there, I will get a salary at the end of the month. I was used to things that make my heart beat fast, you know. So I resigned and then I jumped into another company. I became a financial manager. 3 months down the line, I resigned and I jumped and I was hired in many companies, and you know, that spirit kept on saying, you are not supposed to seek, you have to create. You're supposed to create, you know.
Sure.
And and every time when I find myself in a position, I just climb the ladder quick because they used to know me, I'm Mr. Resignee.
Yes.
I'll tell you, give me 50% increase
or I'm gone.
Or I'm gone.
I'm out.
You know, and in most cases, like enough, they used to because they could see, you know, the drive in me. So it really fueled that. Then I realized, you know what, I'm wasting my time in the industry, and this is not me. Because I'll keep on resigning and resigning. How many companies, if even the HRs, when they look at my CV, they're like, hey, what's going on with this guy?
Yes, he's not stable. He's like no stability.
Yeah, but across that, I was involved in different industries, and I was dealing with different people. I think that's the journey I had to go through as well.
Yeah,
that's when I built my company, the first company, Laughtorison Holdings, which became my success. It did amazingly. The moment I went in, you know, I was like, God, I wish I had done this before, you know.
But and we'll get to that organization that has done amazing things for you. I just want to take it a bit back to the point where you said that after you left that period of being homeless, being in the street, and when you went home, things started happening.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a spiritual process that you were going through while you were in the streets, maybe?
Yes, most definitely, because my everyday prayer was, Lord, why? You know my heart, and you know I consider myself very pure, and because I was not involved in a lot of things. So I was like, I've done everything that I was supposed to do. Why me, you know? And at that point, I didn't understand why I had to go through that. But later on, I got the answer. God was just trying to build a character in me, you know, and to prepare me for the opportunities when they come. Mostly I appreciate everything because, you know, when you know how it feels not to have anything,
correct,
you will appreciate everything. It doesn't matter, you know. So I became a more appreciative person, and I had that fire that you talk about. It was 10 times like I was unstoppable. It doesn't matter if you tell me this thing is, the moment you tell me it's impossible, you've just made it worse for me. If I was supposed to deliver it in 7 days, I would deliver it in 24 hours. That's just so I started living the life of proving that it's possible, you know. Yeah, so that's just about it. Then that's when now opportunities, I didn't even have to apply for, you know, things just started coming, and you know, you have companies fighting for you, and I was like, what have I done to deserve so much at this point? But I forgot the pain I went through at the point, you know. And I'm sure by that time anyone would wish to be me. Say, you know, you're needed by all companies, and I was like, but even if you wish to be me, would you wish to go through what I went through?
Exactly. And that is the question. So many times we look at people succeeding, enjoying, you know, reaping the fruits of their labor, their hard work, and then we envy, or we think, oh, it should be me, or why is it him, why is it her, not knowing the pain that they've actually gone through. And I really want you at home to take in this phase or this period when Ndivhuwo says that, I was in the streets, but at that time I was prayerful and I kept interrogating God, because sometimes, if not most or all times, when you're going through that season of being in the desert where you feel you are alone, there's no one, in all honesty, that's when God wants you one-on-one. And I always share this, that's when God wants you one-on-one. He wants you to seek his face. He wants you to look for him in that darkness. He wants you to kneel down, be vulnerable, and cry. That's why you end up in that season of isolation. Y'all know me, I'll start preaching. Let me take it back to my guest. So you're starting your tech company.
Yeah.
And now you're in the world of tech,
yeah.
which is ever changing.
Yeah.
And it is very intimidating, because everywhere you go globally, in the world of tech, you're dealing with big boys, with big money, big brains, big investors, right?
Yeah.
But you say, I'm Ndivhuwo, I'm going to do this. Tell us what happens.
Yeah, so story forward. So when I started my first company, which is the company it's called Laughtorison, that sustained my life and changed the background at home.
Yes.
That's when we were doing accounting and tax and consulting. My mission there was very clear, to say, I'm just going to build this, build up a team, and let it run. That's the difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur. We're all about creating legacy. So I created that company, and then after I said, Lord, I don't feel like there's no challenge. I'm not getting that challenge. Please give me something that will, touch lives of people in a broader way. I want to compete globally. I want to show an African child that it's possible. Please. And that's when the idea of actually the current company that it's really doing wonders, which is called Pluc.
Yes.
That's how it came into my life. And then, I started getting the wisdom of it, and ideas just started sparking.
Yes.
Honestly, I would agree that I was tempted to really, undermine myself a bit when this came. It came in, it was a social media platform.
Yes.
I was like, hold on, social media platform? Who has done it? Who has done it? Why no one is thinking about it?
Yes.
Why Americans are the only ones that have done it? Who am I?
Yes.
And that's when that inner person started speaking. For the longest time, you have achieved so much, and this is who you are.
Yes.
And there's no limitation that can tell you how far you can go with it.
Yes.
As long as you know who you are, you will make it. So I had to really get in it. At that point, lucky enough, I was always having an interest in tech.
Yes.
I was building websites just as a hobby.
Yes.
And then I started developing apps, and then I always make sure that in my room there's people that are smarter than me. That's the one thing I would say. It's one mark of my greatest success. I don't feel threatened when I feel like I need more people who are smarter than me, because we're able to channel ourselves to greatest success. And with the experience I have, we're able to, So that's how I actually entered the tech, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I would, with my greatest faith, I would, tackle and go and compete with the giants.
Yes.
The giants of, we know
the
social
them.
media.
We know the big boys and the big girls.
Yeah, I was like,
in tech.
And I did the same thing. I don't really need $1 million to do it. I'll use whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And then of course I need to fill in some finances. But I always tell people, start.
Yes.
The help will come up. It will follow you.
I feel like my guest can interview himself, because he just keeps coming up with these gems and stuff. Now, let's talk about Pluc.
Yeah.
Because that is truly, the one thing that also drew me to your content, where you said you've innovated, you've created, you've built a social media app.
Yeah.
Tell us more about Pluc. What is it? What does it do? Give us everything.
Yeah. I'm a salesman, as I said.
Go for it. I can see this is your playground. Go for it. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So I'll just paint a picture, right? So when you talk about a platform, we're talking about a given space where if let's say we give you a platform to dance, it means we've given you a platform to dance. There might be people watching you. That means there's something that you can make out of that. So Pluc is a social media platform. So what it means is it's a platform that allows people to connect.
Yes.
So we're actually building a community. So you get to meet your friends, you get to meet other people and what they're doing. You get to see
Yes.
talents.
Yes.
But it's a community that was built out of looking at our current background in South Africa as a whole. Because remember, before you solve global problems, you need to look at home first. It's very
Exactly.
important.
Charity pickings at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first issue was the high unemployment rate. It has always been my concern, and then I always speak about it. I can touch as far as I can mentor people, but we understand that some people are not as entrepreneurs as we think. Some people, they're
Yes.
just talented.
Yes,
We
exactly.
have dancers, we have singers, and who cares for them and help them, making a living out of the same thing. That's why we built Pluc, which is literally a social media platform that is connecting you with the community that values your creativity.
Yes.
So if you are on social media, that you can post pictures, videos, you can interact with people. Yes, that's Pluc. But for every innovation, there's always have to be what we call a unique proposition. What are you bringing that's new?
Yes.
We came the social media platforms that exist globally.
Yeah.
So as Africans, we had to be creative so that we don't look like we're just cloning existing
Correct.
ideas, So that's when we decided, so you know what, first thing is we will make it content creator centric, meaning that how do we best and make it as quick as it can be for a creator to be able to make a living out of their content. That's the first centric, so
Yes.
centric. And then the second thing was, how do we make it more fun?
Yes.
You know,
Of course, it has to be fun.
Yeah, how do we make it more
Yeah.
fun? And that's when we brought the voice comments, and we're very proud to be the first, I would say worldwide. Because,
Yes. No, for real. Do you know how many times we wish that you could send a voice message as a comment instead of typing?
Yeah.
So many times. So that is incredible.
And trust me, I don't believe I'm the smartest person in the world, right? But the wisdom I have, and I always pray for more. I believe there's a lot of people that thought about it, but they just never acted. And that's one thing that differentiates a person who makes it and the person who doesn't.
Action.
Certain ideas stays in our brain because first of all, you haven't known yourself and you're not fueled enough to want and to let out the ideas and let them be, because we're afraid of people saying no to us. We're afraid of failing. And trust me, there's two possibilities that comes. You act on your idea, there's a possibility it can win, there's a possibility that it might not. But if you don't,
you
it's
never
simple.
know.
You
Yes,
never know.
never know.
Yeah, we brought in the voice commenting, which is very brilliant. I know I didn't have an idea of a code how it's going to be, but I knew it was going to be possible because I had an idea. I could see the vision, and I saw the vision to my team, and my team worked hard and made it possible. There's a lot of great things that we have, and another thing that we brought was direct content monetization. I'll give you an example.
Please do. Go for it.
Let's say you have an episode that you think this is premium stuff. Let's say my interview.
Yes,
okay.
Of course. I mean, right there.
Yeah, you're like, I believe this is premium.
Yes.
So what you do in Pluc, like normally you create normal posts, right? When you're uploading that specific episode, you go and say, this is exclusive premium episode.
You're right.
Pluc will ask you, okay, this is premium. How much do you need for it?
Yes.
And you're like, no, anyone who really values and would want to consume this content should pay 50 rand. And you put 50 rand there. So what is going to happen, like any normal content that you see, people be scrolling and watching videos and all those things, they'll watch the first one episode and they'll be glued. And by the time they get to that episode, they'll be like, you say premium.
Yes.
Pay it one
I'll
lock.
pay. Yes.
And trust me, if you are the person, because knowledge is power. If you know the value of what you're going to get, that you press unlock, right? And that's 50 rand. Think about it. For you as a creator, that 50 rand multiplied by 100,000, how much is that?
Yeah, that's a lot.
We're talking about millions,
definitely,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's direct monetization when we talk about direct monetization. So we still have to, school our people on effective use. That's why we have Pluc Academy, just to teach content creators more about how they can best utilize the platform.
Yes.
But the support ever since we actually launched has been amazing. Trust me, it's been.
When did you launch?
Yeah, we literally just launched in January.
Okay.
Yeah, towards the end of January we launched.
Mm-hmm.
We went live. We've been building the platform in the background, but I always say, sometimes something doesn't have to be perfect to go to the market. And
of course, yeah.
And from many startups that I've started, I think you need to be to find a way to get as quickly as you can get to your nose until you get to your first years.
Yes.
Meaning that you need to let people challenge your invention quicker. Don't wait for it to be perfect, because what if you take it to the market and it's not fit?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So the reason why we're working so hard nowadays, we don't even have days to really rest. We're working so hard because people of South Africa and the world said, "Oh, we've been waiting for this." And trust me, the first 2 days when we opened it, we started getting like a minimum of 1,000 signups. I was even shocked, and I thought we would crash, but the confidence built, and I was like, I think God gave me the right people and the team to make sure that the vision is put across, because as it started, even the people that work within our company still felt like it's too big for us. How do we then go and challenge a company that's valued over $100 billion?
Correct.
But trust me, it's very possible and it's happening. And if anyone thinks anything is impossible, I think they should remember this podcast that it's possible. It's possible.
It's possible. You're not even hearing it from me. You're hearing it from my guest. It is possible. So you mentioned something very, I guess, focused on God when you said that God, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not saying it the way you said it, but you alluded to the fact that the idea, the concept of Pluc was inspired really by the relationship you have with God. Is that correct?
Yes, that's very correct. To explain it better,
please.
It came in as a vision. Honestly, I was sleeping and I just saw myself doing wireframes of scripts. It's like I was just being told, this invention like this, you can do this, you can do that. When I woke up, I always have a journal, and I always encourage a lot of people that if you're more spiritual, you need to be awoke and start writing things. Sometimes the first part of what you write might not make sense, but the next, once it builds up, it starts making sense. So I had a couple of visions and I was just writing down. I was just writing down. I allowed it to be used. And at this point of time, I think because God himself was a creator, and he wouldn't let his legacy go down. He would want us to continue to create, and that's why he keeps on pumping us with a lot of this wisdom and ability to create. And you ask yourself why the most biggest innovator, the most wealthiest people and all those things, sometimes it's because they continue with something that God is proud of. We need to continue to create and to innovate, and in so we are serving our people, because when you serve the people, and then the people will serve you and your dreams,
I love that. I just want to check, when is your birthday? I feel like I found my twin brother. I've never met anyone who thinks like me this way. It's just crazy. When is your birthday? Just in case,
Yeah, it's on the 21st August.
I completely, wholeheartedly agree with everything that you're saying, right? Because so many people, especially nowadays, there is that struggle, or let me say that disconnect, where people don't associate success and mega success with God. Yet, I always say that's actually where it comes from. Yes, there are other sources and means of being successful, from the dark world, from the kingdom of darkness, or from wherever. We don't know what some of you are doing behind closed doors. But the true source and the main source of really great, good success, which not only touches your life, but touches the lives of others, truly comes from God. And it's just refreshing to hear it come from a gentleman to say that the inspiration behind the platform, the app that I have built, truly came from God. So even with you at home, don't take the visions that you have for granted. Sometimes you think that you're daydreaming, and it's actually God literally showing you, painting a picture that if you can do this, this is what we will achieve. Because we will never see the big men upstairs come down physically to show us. We can only rely on messages, on dreams, on prophetic things, and so forth. Ndivhuwo, I just want to understand, since you're a young man, young gentleman, and we know the state of the world today, and not to be judgmental, everyone's got their, their journey in life. How have you continued to cultivate that connection between you and God? Because in everything that you're saying, it comes up a lot, your spirituality, your relationship with God, your obedience with God. How do you do it?
I get a blood rush about this one. But I think for me, it always takes me back to the time when I had nothing and the time when I was homeless, and today I always say, God, thank you so much for not giving me things prematurely before I was ready for them. Honestly, I don't think I would be the same person I am. I'll give you an example. When I started my company, it literally took me 5 months for me to see money called R1 million. That was my first time. That was so big for me to a point where my character could change like literally same time,
Like,
you know.
yes.
And I became a likable person. So it means everyone wants to sit with you, and they want to go anywhere. Things are accessible for you.
Yes.
But that relationship and that ability to know myself, like I told you in university, I knew the kind of people I can associate with myself.
Yes.
Either when I have or when I don't, because I know what my inner person wants.
Yes.
So in terms of association, I remained with a person of less friends, family. I focused on that, and I would
Yes.
say no straight away on something that doesn't really connect with
you.
me and my vision.
Yes.
And my values. So I have values that are very strict, and that's what kept me, you know, strict, because you need to be strict and protect the inner person, and don't just let anyone enter that cycle, because they can pollute it.
You see, I always say I'm a strict girl. You're not strict because you know you're arrogant. It's because you know what value you have inside of you, and you want to protect that. Because the world, I always say, the world is a great place, but it can also be a very scary place. As a busy person, as a busy man, as a busy business person, how do you recharge? Where do you find the balance? Because I know ambitious people can go to a point where they don't even see now when they're in the ditch, or when they're in the dark, or when they're even maybe depressed. How do you keep that balance to say, yes, I want to achieve so many great things. I want to impact lives. I want to make sure that everyone in Africa uses Pluc, which they will, by the way. We are just, you know, putting it out there. But at the same time, I need to be sane, because the world of business, very competitive, also very toxic. So how do you maintain that balance in your mind, in your heart, and in your soul?
Thank you so much for that question. Yeah, it's a common thing, and I've witnessed, because I mentor a lot of entrepreneurs, and most of them crash. And and I wouldn't say I'm immune to that as well.
Yes.
How do I recharge? So it's funny. The inner voice becomes, it's like the inner voice talks with me. You know, sometimes I'm always because I'm all about achieving the next thing. You know, sometimes we focus on milestones that we sometimes forget to reflect and know that we've been working so hard and we've achieved a lot, and we're working so hard on ourselves, and to a point where we're just gonna crash because work, and then what? You know. So the inner voice in most circumstances will just tell me, close your laptop, take a walk, take a vacation. And in most circumstances, when it says take a walk, I'll go take a walk, and I won't take my phone with me. I'll leave it behind. And during those walks, that's when, you know, I get to communicate with God. And it's funny, at least no one in my state have ever met me, because I talk with myself. At that point, I just, you know, I would just be tricking God. Thank you. I've done the 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you so much. And so that's the only time I get to connect with myself. And I never deny myself of anything that I want. If it's specific food or anything, I'll stop everything and go and do it, because I know that the same body and the same mind is the one that's saving me. So I need to, you know, when it's time to serve it and be calm and let your soul rest as well, I need to. And in most circumstances, when I feel like, you know what, I'm so much focused on work, I do the Bible, as I talked about wisdom. You know, in most difficult times, and as a leader, some certain things you don't want to have answer to, and there's no mentor that will give you answer to. And the greatest mentor I've had in my lifetime has always been God and His Word. So in any circumstances, I always just go and recharge, just go and read, and then I pray. Sometimes just go out and you know, meet people, hear how they think, and engage, because that helps. It's just a matter of having the balance, because both of them, they really need to go hand in hand. You cannot do more and expect, you know, to still be a stable, normal person.
That's very enlightening. Now, I know that, or I can only assume, because I'm not a male, right? But just from a female perspective, when you are a confident woman that is super focused with a certain level of spirituality, knowing and understanding your worth, the world comes at you hard. Is it the same for males as well? Or do you guys have a bit of like leniency somehow? Because I share this with a lot of my female guests and they completely attest to it that once you are a woman and you have a certain outlook, you know, of the world and yourself, the world is just on your case always. Is it the case for males, or do you guys have it a little bit easier somehow? And be honest.
Yeah, no, honestly speaking, no, we don't have it. I'll talk about myself personally.
Yeah.
I'll give you, for example, when my life changed after I was homeless. Okay.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. When I was homeless, it was 2018. On Facebook, I had 200 friends.
Yes.
The first time I actually started getting opportunities and I was back in the world, in a day I was getting 800 friends requests.
How did they know what was happening? Like,
I just updated my profile picture.
oh,
And
okay.
I was wearing a Fumba shirt.
Yes. And that's it.
You know, so I started getting a lot of friends, like 800. Everyone was literally very interested in me, you know, and women started, you know, trying their luck. It's an everyday thing. I'm used to it as it stands. And the higher you go, you know, but when the wave come in high magnitude, I always say, Lord, I know you have something big coming from me.
Yeah.
Because when I feel it's getting hard, you know, you're getting calls from people you never expected. You know, everyone just wants you. And the more you are stricter, is the more everything you've always wanted will be there and easy for you. The more you're not strict, it's hard for you to get what you want. I'll give you an example.
Please repeat that so that I catch it myself. The stricter you are,
the more you're stricter,
yes,
is the easier things
come to you. Okay.
The more you're losing
relaxed,
you have to chase them.
You lose them, or you have to chase them.
You have to chase them.
Okay.
You know, men spend a lot of money trying to chase women. And all this. I've never found myself in that circumstance.
Yes.
It always became vice versa.
Of course.
And at some point, it gets to a point where I don't even have to approach women. I always get approached.
Yes.
But for me, I've always seen that as a test because I build the inner values of what I can take and what I cannot take.
Yes.
Because of that is what reduced, you know, the traffic that is coming through me. Because part of the traffic, it's one thing that it's just coming to pollute you. Remember, in the world of impurity, if you're pure, the world will always find a way to, you know, come with us. You're part of us, you know. So that's why in most circumstances, you need to be strict yourself in your values and uphold them. And for me, it even in my choice of relationship, I'm very stricter. Like I make sure whoever makes it, they've went through a lot and they will enjoy and I'll be open to them because I understand that they pass through all that and they happen to be more of an asset value and we grow together in that circumstance.
Okay. I have gotten more than what I bargained for. I mean, I wanted us to talk about Pluc. I wanted us to talk about your work. But as I said, the basis of the Beaumovation platform is really to work beauty from the inside out. And I really would like to commend you because, you know, in as much as, you know, our male peers, gentlemen, don't have beauty routines like us, you know, applying makeup, skincare. But you have taken us through truly the beauty of harnessing your spirit as a man, of, you know, really knowing what it is that you must be about and how to take care of that and how to ensure that you use that a part of yourself which you've harnessed to propel yourself into the world. It's just been like, I'm in awe, right? That's why I'm like, I feel like you're my twin brother that I lost somewhere because this is exactly how I view the world. What can we do to support Pluc? To make sure that we raise the flag for Pluc as an African technology innovation? What do we do? Please tell us so that we jump on it and whoever is listening and whoever knows us can jump on it because we have to raise the flag. We have to raise our own innovations. It's all good and well that we have all these amazing platforms and all these amazing innovations, but truth is they don't come from home. They don't come from Africa. So what must we do?
I really love your question. Before I could answer it, and your listener allow me to, you just touched something that I felt like I should elaborate on.
Yes.
The more you work on the inner person, is the more you become attractive. Before you could have a makeup, right?
Yes.
You know, there's people that even if when you look at them physically,
Yes.
they don't look that attractive.
Of
But the inner person
Yeah.
is very attractive to a point. Every time when you say something, it goes. And every time when you are in opportunities, when you knock, they'll open. And if you harness and you work so hard in that inner person, you'll see it won't be hard for doors. Doors will just be open. People will just be open to help you. People will
Yes.
just, it's that inner person. Work hard on that. In terms of Pluc, firstly, thank South Africa and Africa as a whole for the support currently.
Yes.
Wouldn't be where we are without that support. And how people can continue to support Pluc, it's, let's take Pluc as home. And being home, I mean to say, let's start creating communities. Let's start creating communities. Bring your friends, bring your families.
Yes.
Ask them, come sign up on Pluc, it's free. Come, let's engage in that. Let's chat on Pluc.
Yes, yes.
And that should be before the world is to, start getting much on Pluc.
Yeah.
It felt at home.
Yes.
And that's what we do so much with our technology and the algorithmic when we're developing to say, it needs to feel like Pluc knows you, even the kind of content you get, So the best, our algorithmic will be best. It's when people interact, people post content, and you get to tell friends, and you say good thing with pride because it's ours.
Yes.
It's as I always said, it's not a selfish business. It's not about me. It's about our name as a country that we're capable.
Yes.
And if in the future that we want to say, hey, we're banning you on Pluc, we can,
Yes. We can say we're closing out certain regions. You're disrespectful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it kind of like it gives us the leverage, and then we're capable.
Yes.
Because we need to get rid of mindset of inferior. We are capable. We are more capable. And,
Definitely.
And I believe because Pluc is going to make it, it's going to open more doors for more innovators to have the confidence. As I said, I did what I did at school so that my siblings can find it easy for them to,
Yes.
It's the same thing that I'm doing right now. I've innovated this so that anyone who's sitting with an idea that will change the outlook of South Africa
Yes.
would do it.
100%.
So together we can, as we always say.
Yeah.
Sign up, go to www.plucme.com, create your profile, share with friends, and have fun.
Yes.
Post nice stories. We want different stories of Africa.
Yes.
Connect with friends, meet new people, network, and let's make it an environment and a community that really feels like home.
I love that. An environment and community that feels like home. Is it available on the app stores? What's iOS as well as them?
Yeah.
Just forgot right now.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Yeah, so
Okay.
we've been getting that question a lot.
Okay.
So we're in the process of listing on Google Play Store and on App Store. So, but what you can do right now is you can visit www.plucme.com. There you can create a profile. The reason why we started with the web application is because we want to ensure all device access.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how old is your phone.
Yes.
You'll be able to access Pluc. Just create a profile there.
Yeah.
As soon as it's on Play Store, you get a pop-up and then you just install it and it will feel at home.
Wonderful stuff. Then Ndivhuwo back at home, who was, say, 8 years old, 9 years old, who could tell that, this is my life right now, but it's not where I'm supposed to end up. And the Ndivhuwo that you are today. What do you think the today version, the present day version would say to the younger version?
Yeah, the older version would say it all works together for the best. I don't wish, every time when I'm sitting down, I don't wish nothing that happened in my life. Like I used to go to school barefooted and, all those things that used to happen. My mom used to take a newspaper and put sugar for us to have tea. That's our rooibos at that point of time. But beside that, I don't think any part and parcel of my life was by mistake.
Yeah.
I am what I am today because of that building block of small characters and small humbling. So
yes.
I thank the young Ndivhuwo as well for not giving up and for continuing to build. Because I remember the young Ndivhuwo a long time ago was sitting at home. At home, roofing, you can see the wood.
Yes.
Yeah, and at home, I could see the wood. One day I was sitting, I was like, one day I'm going to close that, Yeah, so I at that point, I didn't know how.
Yeah, but you
I
just
knew I would
he's
do
going to
it.
do it, right?
Yeah.
And to someone at home feeling hopeless, feeling left behind, feeling like they can never make it, just feeling like my existence is a mistake. What do you have to say to them?
Yeah. Your existence, the fact that you were born in this earth first of all, our steps are ordained. It's very important. Yeah. So our steps are ordained, and you came with a purpose. And the biggest focus, in case you feel lost, biggest focus should be finding yourself. If you are rushing or you're running, stop.
Yeah.
I always say it's very important. The most important thing is direction than acceleration. Because you can put so much effort and run, but if you're going in the wrong direction,
Yes, you're running to nowhere. You're running to a cliff. Yes.
Rather you stop, collect yourself, find yourself, and find the direction, so that when you run, you know where you're going.
Yes.
And that starts with you getting to know yourself. Every person has a role in this world, and we have a purpose. And the moment you start living a purposeful life, that's when you realize life is very beautiful, you know, and it's amazing. And most of the joy starts when you start extending yourself to touch other people's life. And at this point, I feel like my success, you know, it's less compared to someone's success. When I touch someone's life and I see them successful, that's the biggest happiness I find.
Yes.
So it is possible, and you are very important, and there's great things that are waiting for you to engage on. You just need to have the faith and just get started, you know. Don't worry about what you need. Don't worry about what you don't have.
Yes.
Find reasons why you can, than finding reasons why you can't.
Find reasons why you can rather than finding reasons why you can't. I am so energized. I am so inspired. Ndivhuwo, thank you so much. You came, you unpacked, you dropped bombs, you dropped everything that we needed to know. And like I always say, it all starts with you. You are the main ingredient. You are the main character in this movie of your own life, in this dish that you are preparing. You are the main character. You keep hearing it from my guests, you keep hearing it from me. We wouldn't say this if it wasn't true. It is 100% true. It starts with you, it ends with you. All you need to do is actually decide. If you don't come from a rich family, the rich family has to come from you. As he said, you don't always have to seek. Sometimes you just have to create. Just make it happen. Create it. This is Bumovation. There's been another inspiring, motivating, I don't even know what to say. I just know that I found myself a twin brother. You know, I feel like singing that song from Simba, my brother, because it's so refreshing to find people that have the same mindset, that you just need to go, keep going, keep going. You don't always have to see the way, right? When I leave here, the studio, I don't even know what I'm going to find by the door. I don't. The only way I'm going to know what is by the door is if I get there. So same applies to your goals, your dreams, the person that you want to become, the things that you want to build. You will not see the whole way. No one has ever seen the whole way. We do not even have a car on this earth that when you switch on the lights, it shows you the whole path. No, it shows you 6 meters, 10 meters, 1 meter, depending on how good your lights are. And then after that, you get onto the next leg. You get onto the next leg. So give yourself grace. But with you having that grace, just keep going, push, believe in yourself, try, start, because you cannot leave this earth the same way that you came out. I'm going to start preaching. So tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your sister, tell your friends, even tell your ex to subscribe. Like and subscribe so they can be a better person. This is Bumovation, where beauty meets motivation.